Mohammed, shut up and listen.
I've given her credit.
Get the MAGA wax out of your ears and listen for 10 seconds. I'm picturing Mohammed as the guy that walks into a sex shop and buys a blow-up doll that says feels like a real woman because you don't know what a real woman feels like.
I think you probably set me up incorrectly because I'm not calling in to debate anything. I'm actually calling in to agree 1,000,000% with Pete that you are either colorblind or grossly misguided by whatever you see in your closet every day you leave your house.
I love that Mohammed thinks you have a closet.
Yeah, that is interesting. You
know what's in his closet?
Skeletons and some very, very bad decision making.
No, he told me during the commercial break. It's two guys. Very small guys. They're just in there ironing.
Yeah, those two guys are George Santos and Lindsey Graham. I'm sorry.
That's good. Well done.
And Don Lemon.
I'm not throwing. Don's a friend of mine. I'm not throwing him under the bus.
Don's been out of the closet for.
Yeah, and he's out of the closet.
Mohammed,
what? Mohammed, all right, let's get. All right, enough with your closet fantasies, Mohammed. Okay, I know you fantasize about me every day before you pleasure yourself to your Donald Trump poster. Why don't you tell us why you voted? Why don't you tell us why you voted for Donald Trump? Let's get down to business here.
Listen, yes, there's a Donald Trump poster. There's also a Farrah Fawcett poster, and nestled right in the middle is Brian Shapiro in his wrinkled clothes with his golf hat. I don't know what that hat is, but whatever. Yeah. So why did I vote for Donald Trump?
Yes.
Well, I actually voted against Kamala Harris, if we're going to be.
It's Kamala. Why don't you learn how to spell? Why don't you learn how to pronounce her name right? Go ahead.
Listen, she's so irrelevant now. Who cares? Tomato. She's done. So Kamala.
If you voted against, what state did you are you from, or did you vote in, Mohammed?
Louisiana.
Yeah. Well, I guess your vote doesn't really matter that much if you voted for Donald Trump, but the idea that you voted against Kamala Harris is we could just take that on. Why?
Yeah, good question.
That's a great question. Well,
too qualified.
So you don't think she was qualified? Is that
of course she was the most? Listen, man, you can't argue it. You cannot argue that if someone served as vice president, this is true of every vice president, even Dan Quayle. If you served as vice president for 4 years, you're the most qualified person to be president. Now, before that, she was a senator. Before that, she was the attorney general. Before that, she was the district attorney.
On her knees before that.
No. Stop it.
No. However she got to where she got, the idea that you would deny. No, the idea that you would deny. You know why Kamala Harris is a lawyer, became a lawyer? Do you know?
Say that one more time.
Kamala Harris.
That she was an
Kamala Harris became an attorney because her very best friend was sexually assaulted over and over by a family member. And Kamala Harris, as a young teenage woman, let that friend of hers live with her and swore to herself that she was going to fight those type of people. Kamala Harris spent her entire early part of her career prosecuting criminals who did the worst things in the world. She's far more qualified.
That's very admirable.
Yeah.
And Pete, she should have had you on the campaign trail because you at least can articulate something.
Everybody articulated that.
Hold on a second. No, wait. No, wait. No, we're not. No. We're not moving past that. You just said she's on her knees, you jackass. Okay. What do you mean by that? Hey, idiot. Hey, idiot. Where's your evidence? Why don't you shut up and listen for a second?
No, I think he was on his knees.
Yeah. I think the person that wears the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7 is you. Yeah. But that's fine. Why would you say that Kamala Harris was, quote, on her knees? She's a loving mother. She's a married woman. She's an honorable woman. Meanwhile, you voted for the 34-count felon, liable sexual abuser who went into women's locker rooms, okay, and bragged about it sexually and bragged about his own daughter's body. So don't you give me this BS about how she somehow slept over the top. She's a woman of color who was the attorney general elected twice, an elected senator, and became the vice president. She didn't get there on her knees.
It's just ridiculous. It's
the hell.
It's a silly thing to say. It's a silly, Mohammed. People who say that. Let me just say, when I'm not nearly as upset as Brian is at you. I think you're weird to say that that Kamala Harris was on her knees. I think it's a super weird thing to say. And
Misogynist.
no, it's not even the sexism. If a man says that, I think that he just exposes himself, Muhammad in this case, as being wildly insecure about his own lack of achievement in his own life. The idea that a woman could somehow have success without offering sex to a man is a weird place to be. It makes me wonder how you were raised. It makes me wonder if you have any respect for women or if you've ever been with a woman, much less had the pleasure of having a woman kneel before you. And usually the answer to me is, if a guy says that, that's how she got there, he has never been with a lady. Muhammad, have you, or is that not your thing?
Well, that's not my thing, but
you like guys.
Not even going.
Hold on, Muhammad. Hold on. No, you hold on. No, you hold on. No, you hold on.
Let me. I want to hear Muhammad.
One thing.
I want to hear Muhammad.
Go ahead.
Let me just say one thing. So let's just go back to where this whole thing started about qualifications. So if in fact she was the most qualified on the Democratic side because she was vice president, and that's what you said, Pete.
Yeah.
And Brian, you are agreeing with him, then that line of thinking, then Donald Trump was more qualified because he's already been president of the United States.
No, here's the thing that's weird. Here's why this makes no sense, and why I don't understand why Republicans or any American thinks that Donald Trump, or like the idea that that you had the temerity to say, oh, Kamala Harris got there because through sexual favors, whatever. It's bizarre, like I said. But what's even more bizarre to me, Muhammad, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, that you or anybody is impressed with a man who was born into ultimate privilege. I have a chip on my shoulder. My dad gave it to me. We don't like rich folks who are born rich and then act like they achieve something. Donald Trump was born into privilege and wealth and lost all of it over and over again. The dude's a complete loser. He never earned anything. I was on The Apprentice. I was on that TV show. They asked me if I wanted to meet him. I said no. The dude's a rapist. He is a criminal. He's terrible. And most importantly, think about it, Mohammed. Oh, she got there by having sex with someone. That's your theory. I think it's ridiculous, but that's yours. Guess how Donald Trump got to anywhere? Because he was born into his own father's wealth. Conservative Republican, liberal Democrat. I just feel like all Americans should look at that in general and be like, you're not impressive. Good for you. You're lucky. You're born into wealth, but you never worked. Donald Trump never worked. He's never worked. He's never done anything. He's never accomplished anything. He was handed everything. How you don't look at that guy and every other rich person and go, you were handed everything. Mohammed, maybe you worked for stuff and weren't handed everything. I wasn't.
I have a serious question for Mohammed. Hold on.
Hold on. I want to just respond to Pete.
Fine.
I get exactly what you said, but here's where I think you're misguided. So you give all this praise and accolade to the achievements of Miss Harris, but you don't give those same accolades to a guy who rose to be the president of the greatest country on the planet.
Listen, we're not the greatest country. We're not the greatest country on the planet by any metric. There's not a metric. There's not a metric. There's not a metric in the world that we're the greatest by. First of all, second of all, he didn't write.
Now you're just being offensive.
No, I'm not.
Where's better? Where's better?
Anywhere that has healthcare, doesn't have the death penalty. Anywhere that believes in science, anywhere that believes in vaccines, anywhere that has better math and reading scores than America.
Why are you here if it's so terrible?
Born and raised here, and I'm here to fight fascists.
Ireland with Rosie.
I'm here to fight fascists like you, and you will leave long before I do, Mohammed.
Can I have a serious question?
But I'm not impressed with Donald Trump's. He has accomplished nothing. I lived in New York. All of us New Yorkers knew
the president of the United States.
He is
not consecutive terms, been elected.
He's assaulted. He has assaulted dozens of women.
But you're right. That's not impressive.
You're brainwashed. You're brainwashed.
The reason why Donald Trump was reelected because of idiots like you, number one. But I have a serious question for you.
Idiots like your party can't run anything.
I'm not a part of a party. I'm an independent, you clown. Okay. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, you claim to be independent.
No, I don't claim. I don't claim to be anything. Let me ask you a question.
You're carrying water for the Democrats, and you do it every day.
I'm the one carrying water.
We live on Earth. We live on Earth 1. Where the moon is not made of cheese, where the climate is being polluted, where vaccines are a public health miracle, where Joe Biden won the election. We live where facts.
Another crisis. The world's coming to an end.
It's not about.
Listen, here's the bottom line, Mohammed. I'm going to make a judgment, and you tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, now you started this conversation by saying
some stupid ass analogy about.
No, it's not stupid. I think it's actually quite
kind of like Mohammed. I'm
so
not gonna lie.
You said that Kamala, got to where she is by being on her knees. Mohammed, I'm picturing you as the guy.
Why do you keep going back to that?
Because it's an absurd.
Yeah,
it's an absurd.
Mohammed, shut up and listen.
I've given her credit.
Get the MAGA wax out of your ears and listen for 10 seconds. I'm picturing Mohammed as the guy that walks into a sex shop and buys a blow-up doll that says feels like a real woman, because you don't know what a real woman feels like, because no woman wants to go anywhere near you. Isn't that true, Mohammed?
To be fair, I've done that.
Let me check the box. There's your stupid ass analogy.
I thought you were talking about me. Mohammed's actually in a sex. He's calling from a sex shop where he works behind the counter.
That's probably true.
I own a sex shop.
Brian
happens to be one of my best customers.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's great.
Okay, so
I'm not complaining.
Sure, you're the one who owns a sex shop. You fucking.
No effort. So you really own a sex shop? Is that true?
I do.
This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable.
I've seen you with your little Smurf hat.
Where's your sex shop? Oh, really? Okay. What is it called and where is it?
I didn't call to promote anything.
What state is it in?
It's called Black Inches.
Yeah.
Mohammed, what's your highest level of education? What have you achieved in your life, and how did you get there?
It's a very good question. How did you become an owner of a dildo shop? Tell us.
Well, it's one of many businesses that I have, and I am educated, and I have worked for everything I have.
Yeah. Well, then why would you support someone who didn't?
Listen, it's not the man, it's the policy. It's what he stands for.
What policy? What does he stand for? What policy?
Hold on a second. Let me just make one, and then just tell me if you agree with me or disagree with me.
I disagree with you.
I figured. I don't know how old you are, Pete, and Brian.
I'm 49, 1975.
Okay. So we're about the same age. Brian's, I think, a little bit younger than us, but not by much. Here's what I would say. You honestly, I think you'll disagree, because you've already said you think so many other places are greater than the United States.
By almost every metric. Yeah. Outside of our national parks, which Trump is selling.
With that being said, though, here's what I say. The country I grew up in, when you were proud to be from this country, you recited the Pledge of Allegiance in class, people respected the police and the military and authority and teachers, to the world now where you can riot, steal, burn things down.
Really, that's not illegal.
Here's the thing that I don't understand. With somebody,
I want America first.
That's
what Donald Trump.
That America
for.
Now it's
America first.
You're being, Mohammed, with all due respect, you're being a silly goose, and I'll help you understand why. Because this will be interesting. If America, what's the greatest achievement America ever made? A lot of people argue, and I think it's probably true, fighting the Nazis and winning World War II. Like, that was the entire country was almost overwhelmingly on board fighting that. Women building planes, everybody was doing something for the war effort. Millions of Americans died, obviously. What's crazy to me is that y'all, Trump supporters, don't realize that you are fascist. That World War II, when we beat the fascists, and now we are the fascists. And that is according to every expert on fascism. So if America was ever great, it was as a result of winning World War II. If you wanted to pick one time, and by the way, we were really horrifically racist to the black members of the military who did not get the benefits that the whites did when they came back from World War II. But I'll give you that. Like, it was World War II. And now what? Now we support fascism, and we are fascists. So it's a bizarre thing to say America's great for fighting Nazis, and now we've become.
I agree with everything you just said. Mohammed said America first. So Mohammed, let me ask you a question, okay? If you blow up a Tesla vehicle, which, by the way, me and Pete don't condone, does that make you a domestic terrorist?
They blow up themselves.
Yeah, it's true. That's what Donald Trump said. Would you consider someone who blows up a Tesla a domestic terrorist? Yes or no? I don't need a whole diatribe answer. Yes or no?
Intentionally blows one up.
Are you a domestic terrorist? Yes or no? Answer the question.
No, I'm just asking. Well,
You got a Joe Biden stutter now.
I got a better one. I got a better one for Muhammad.
But hold on. There's a reason why I'm asking. Domestic, just answer the question.
Pete, I don't disagree with what you said just a moment ago.
Okay.
That probably was
Muhammad, do you agree with Donald Trump that and Pam Bondi that if you blow up a Tesla vehicle, you're a domestic terrorist? Yes or no? Answer the question.
Well, I don't know that I agree or disagree. Here's what I do know. I think that what they're saying is enough is enough.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's go with that. Hold on. Let's go with that.
People out.
Let's go with that. Hold on. So what would you characterize? So what would
destroy
Muhammad
property like?
Okay, Muhammad, I agree. Muhammad. Okay. Stop with the Black Lives Matter. Stop. Okay, stop. I told you not to go on a racist diatribe, and you are. So what would you characterize someone who beats a police officer on January 6th? Would you call them a patriot? If blowing up a Tesla?
Absolutely not.
That's what Donald Trump said, you dope. You voted for him.
How about this one? Let me try this one. His name is Muhammad. Are you Muslim?
I am.
Who do you think is who has committed more terrorist attacks in America post 9/11? Foreign Muslim jihadists or white American domestic white supremacists, anti-abortion types, anti-Semites? Who has been behind, plotted, and succeeded with more terrorist attacks? Foreign Muslim jihadists or white supremacists in America?
I can tell you it's not Muslims.
Exactly. I can tell you that for a living, Mohammed, I cover national security. I interview national security experts. I'm not one. Every single national security organization, every non-government and government one has a threat matrix. Who are the greatest threats to America? When it comes to terrorism, it's absolutely white anti-government extremists, all of which support Donald Trump.
Well, you mentioned a couple.
And if I were a Muslim American, I would be horrified by the fact that you support Donald Trump and you're a Muslim American based on what I just said is really quick. Help me understand that.
Yeah, who owns a sex shop, by the way? Go ahead.
Okay.
And by the way, if they found out your name was Muhammad, that you're a Muslim, let me ask you, how do they treat you when they find out, when you tell them?
How does who treat me?
When you find out that someone's a Trump supporter and you were like, oh, my name's Muhammad, I'm Muslim. How does that usually go?
Well, I think people are open to, if you're having some dialogue about politics.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear it. Openly say that I supported Trump. And again, I want to be really, really clear because Pete, you sound very reasonable and
I am. I'm quite reasonable and handsome.
Nice chatting with you. Well, that's debatable. That's debatable.
Google my face and tell me where the symmetry.
Sometimes you get judged by the company you keep. Look at the. Good thing your buddy there's on radio and not on TV. He'd been canceled a long time.
I was just on TV the other day. You jackass.
Well, yeah, I put my hand up over your face.
That's understandable.
So, where's JoJo?
JoJo's banned.
I just want to say that there's also some very nuanced parts to what you just said that make that true. And that is, there have been a lot of different groups that have been labeled or designated as terrorist organizations over the last 15, 20, 25 years, right? So it's probably always been the case, Pete, but now that white supremacist groups and some others have been designated as terrorist organizations.
All right.
Those numbers.
Do you think Elon Musk is a Nazi?
Absolutely not.
Okay. What do you think about him giving the Nazis salute?
That's not what happened.
What do you think about him saying that Hitler and Stalin and Mao didn't kill people? It was public workers who killed people. He retweeted that. He defended Hitler.
So have you ever retweeted something that somebody else said, and then that makes it that means you said it?
Absolutely, it means you endorse it. Absolutely, and he does it all day.
Not what that means.
Yeah. Well, listen, Muhammad, it is insane to me to hear you. If you really are Muhammad and you really are a Muslim, I would love to talk to you for hours about your feelings on this because I do think it's fascinating when people punch themselves in their own dick.
Donald, how many? Yeah, did I call you Donald? Muhammad, how many Donald Trump knee pads have you sold today?
None. We don't have any in the shop, but I think that's something that could sell.
Yeah.
So I may look into that.
I think.
In fact,
yeah.
next time you're in the store,
Yeah,
because
which you
I
won't
know
say
you
where the
frequent
store
it.
is and what it's called. But
Well,
Brian can't come in your
well,
store because of your weird height requirement that you demand. Muhammad,
Well,
I say you
listen,
take that down and let the rest of us shorts in.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, it was great chatting with you.
You don't know. Hey,
Thank you,
Muhammad,
Silly
you
Goose.
seem like a good guy who doesn't know he's a fascist. But
Yeah.
call back anytime.
Thank you, Silly Goose.
Yeah.
Can I call you Silly Goose? Thank you, Silly Goose, for calling in.